provides us, which we can use on strings, so that we can do our operations, whatever we want to perform. Okay, so there are like a set of functions, I would say. So I have like categorized, I have categorized them into like different groups, so that it would be like very easy to remember. Okay, so that it will be like very easy to recall whenever we have such a kind of scenario. So they are easy. Okay, but until unless we practice them and until unless we register them into our mind, so we don't get hands on all these functions. So it is very suggestible to practice all these functions at least twice or thrice. Okay, at least use them in any of your questions or problem statements that you are solving. Okay, now let us start with our class today. Okay, built-in functions and strings. So the very first thing I would like to introduce is the length function. So what is the length function? I have mentioned, right? So we know that string is a sequence data type. That means it has some characters in a sequential manner. That means it has a character, it has number of characters. So we are saying number of characters in a sequential manner. So how do we find how many number of characters in a string? So that is important, right? So whenever we are doing some operations, so we should know what is the length of this particular string. How many characters are, let's say if it is a paragraph, how many words do we have? So in such a scenarios, how do we find exactly what is the length of how many characters, I would say length in the sense how many characters in the string. So but in the different cases, so for list, how many elements or how many objects inside the list. Similarly for the tuple, similarly for the dictionary, similar for the set. So this length function is like a universal function in Python, so which can be applied on any other sequential data type. Okay, length function. So we denote length function with len, simply len, and the functional parameters. Okay, so we just need to pass any sequence to this function as input parameter. So in this case here we are passing a string. Okay, yeah. So whenever we pass a string to this function, so it will just return us an integer saying, so these many characters are there in this particular string. Let us see with an example. So here I will just declare one variable with a value. So okay, so now Python is like assigned to this var is a string. We know that because whatever the value that we have given is enclosed in between the double quotes. Okay, so which means a string in Python. So now let us see how many characters are there in this particular variable. I can simply call this length function. Okay, without using any prefixes, without using any modules and all that stuff. Since it is a universal, it is already available in the standard library. Length of, we just need to pass this variable. That's it. Since we have 6 characters in this particular string, so it will just print 6. Yeah, 6. Okay, so that is how we find this length. So what is the use of this particular length function? So let us say we know the looping structures, right? So for the for loop and the while loop. For loop, we don't need to like consider about indexes and all the stuff. Okay, the membership operator will take care of all that. But whenever you are like running a while loop on top of this string, okay, so how can you do that? Because in while loop we cannot use a membership operator. We have to go by the indexing only. So first we need to initialize our indexing starting with 0, because that is how the indexing starts in Python or any other programming language. Okay, and we need to increment them till the length of this particular string. Now let us see how that is. Now first initial index. So let me call it as int. So initial index is 0. Okay, now what I'll do, while int is less than length of var. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll print every character in every line. Print. So this is my string. So we know how to access that particular character in a very index. Okay, so we have this index int. So I'm just printing that particular value from that index. That's it. So here I have my initialization class, conditional class. So one thing we are missing is the incremental class. Okay, this is equal to 1. Now this will print me all the values in a very new line. Okay, Python. That is how we'll just use. So this is only simple one example. So there are like multiple scenarios. So we might use them in the map, reduce, so rigorously. Okay, not only with the string. So yeah, with all the sequential data types. Okay, so that is the very first function. So irrespective of string, whether it is a string or list or tuple or set, we will use this in the further class as well. Now, so coming to the string specific functions. Okay, so first, so whenever we are like dealing with strings, so with the very first thing, so even when we were like learning the alphabets, the very first thing we learned is the capitals and the smalls. I mean the uppercase alphabets and the lowercase alphabets. So here also first we'll see. Okay, so if we are getting any string as an input, so we need to like convert that into any other case, because sometimes user might input values in different manners, so we can't correct the user. So it is our responsibility to correct whatever the input that user has given. So let's say, so we are expecting the username in any portal. So the user might have printed like a very a very random way, like clubbing both the uppercase and lowercase letters. So such a kind of data we cannot store because it does not have any validity. See, capital P makes sense, but why there is a uppercase T, why there is an uppercase N in between? So they do not make any sense. So for that case, so what we do is we either convert this into completely uppercase or completely lowercase, or at least we can completely capitalize this particular word. So in order to do that, so what are all the options that we have? Okay, now the very first thing is cases. How do we deal with the cases? Okay, so first function is, so we know uppercase, lowercase and capitalization. First we'll deal with the uppercase. So whatever the string that user is inputting, so we first need to convert that into, if we want to convert that into completely uppercase. Okay, so in that case we'll just simply use upper function. Upper function, but there is one link to this upper function, so we cannot simply directly call this upper function. So we need to call this upper function with the help of this string module. The string module, you don't need to like import this module because this is a part of standard library. But yeah, so Python is expecting us to give it as a that particular module. So because this upper method is also part of another libraries, so just to eradicate this kind of confusion with the Python compiler, we just need to provide the module name as well. So this str library is also a part of standard library only. Just we are giving, because this upper function is also part of another module. Just to specify, only use this upper function from this str module. So that is why we are telling str dot upper function. Okay, as I told, so this is an upper function. So this will take a string as input. Okay, so whatever the string that we pass to this function, okay, it will convert that particular string completely into the upper cases. Let us see with an example. I'm commenting this out. No, let us take the same example. Okay, user has entered a name in like combined cases. Now I just wanted to like convert that particular string or name into all upper cases. Str dot, I just need to call this upper function. So to this function I just need to pass that particular variable. So this upper function will take care about all of this. See, now this word Python has all the uppercase letters. Okay, because we use this upper function on top of this variable. That is where all the characters in this particular string are converted into uppercase, irrespective of whatever the case that we are getting. In the similar manner, if we were to like convert the same into lower cases, the same method, I mean the similar structure, lower function. This is how we call it, similarly to the upper function, str.lower. Okay, and string as input, whatever the string that we want to convert it into lowercase. Now we have our variable var into lower cases. Now, so this is not always the case, right? So we can't simply like whatever a user has given, let's say user has given his name, so we can't simply convert his name into upper cases every time and lower cases every time. So since that is a name, we know that, let's say if user is inputting his first name, middle name and last name separately, so we have an option to capitalize each word, each name. Let's say if the user has given like this is the last name, this is the middle name, okay, this is the first name. So user has entered in his format, so whatever the format he entered, we can't like blame the customer or the user. Okay, now it is our responsibility to make it generic, because all users does not enter the same does not enter the values in the same manner, right? So it is our responsibility to convert all the values that users enter into one format, so which we can tackle. Okay, now what I can do, I can completely convert all the names into upper cases, I can completely convert all them into lower cases. Lower case does not make any sense here because names cannot be in lower cases. And there is one more useful case, so we can convert each name into capitalization. Okay, when I say that, so what do I mean is the first letter of the first character of each word is in a capital, is in the upper case. That means last name, middle name, first name. So this does make sense because this is how we represent our name. So the first character of our first name will be in uppercase. The first letter of our middle name will be in the uppercase. Similarly with the first name as well. Now in that case, how can we do that? We can simply call capitalize function. Okay. So this also need to be called with the help of this str only. Str.capitalize function. So to this also we just need to pass whatever the string that we want to convert as input. See, now we have the string in the capitalized manner. Okay, so these are three functions which we can use to tackle with multiple cases that user enter. Okay, so we can like generify them into whatever the format that we want, uppercase, lowercase or capitalized. And whenever we are comparing strings as well, so we need to like first thing we need to do is we just need to make them into one simple plane. Let's say if we were to like compare two strings, we can't simply compare them with whatever the data that user has entered. We just need to make them into one single format, whether it can be uppercase, lowercase or capitalized. Then only we can compare those two strings. Okay, yeah, we'll see them in the next coming functions. Okay, so these are the three functions related to the cases. And next kind of category is frequency category. Okay, what is a frequency category? So we might have like seen this. So whenever we were like dealing with Word documents or any text documents, so we search a string or any character. So we wanted to know how many times this particular character or a string is repeated, this particular document or any other paragraph or any statement. So that we can achieve with the help of one of the functions in Python. Okay, so that can be achieved with the help of count function. But the syntax for the count function is a bit different compared to what we have seen so far. Okay. So what is the function? Function is the count function, but syntax for this is a bit different. So we are like counting a particular character or a string inside a main string. Okay, so the main string is the main string in which we are searching. Okay, so first we need to call this function on our main string, what in which we are like doing this operation. Let's say it is a document, some document X. So if you want to like count a word the, okay, then I can like call it as first document X dot, Then I'll call my function count, okay, to which the first character is, the first character or the string is search string. What do you want to search? Okay, so what do you want to search, and how many times it is like getting repeated? So in our example, so it is the, okay, and start index and end index. Okay, so inside this main string, okay, so from where, starting from which index till which index you want to search this particular string. Okay, yeah, this is the complete syntax for this. Now let us like take an example here. Let's say if I have a string called my name is Python. Okay, now I want to like see how many times the character n got repeated. Now how can I call this function is, so let's say this is my string var. Okay, now how I call is var, okay, dot the function count. What do I want to search? I want to search the character n. Okay, starting from 0th index till the end of the string. That means the end of the string is the length of the string, length of var. Okay, so this is how we call this particular function. Let us see with an example. Let me have one variable var1, okay, to which I'll just give the same that we have seen. So this is my string. Now I want to search, I want to see how many times the character in got repeated. First, I told you this function is called upon the whatever the string that we are doing the operation on. var1 dot count of, okay, the first is the search string. What I am searching for n, starting from the 0th index till the length of var1. Now let us see how many times this n got repeated. So this n got repeated 2 times, starting from m to this particular last character n. Now let me change this particular end index. As I mentioned, so there is no difference between the single character, single quotes and the double quotes. That is why I am using this single quotes and double quotes. So I want to search starting from 0th index till 5th index. Okay, if there is a character n available or not, and if it is there, how many times it is like appearing. See, starting from 0th index till 5th index, 0, m is at 0th index, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now here we are searching starting from uppercase m to lowercase m. So in between we found one occurrence of this particular character n. So that is why 1 got printed. Now what is the case when there is no such a character available? Now let me search for z, okay, till the length of this particular variable. Now we don't have any occurrence of this z. So at that time we know how many times it is repeated, 0 times. So that is why we got 0 printed. Okay, so that is how we use this count function. So why I am like categorizing this is, so whenever there is a problem statement, so they definitely use such a kind of words. In any of your problem statement, if they mention a word called frequency, that means directly or indirectly you are going to use this count function. Okay, yeah, that is why it is very important to remember that not only the function names and also the categories. Yeah, so that is the count function. Next category is the search category. So far what we have did, so we found how many times the character is like repeating in a string. Okay, what is the frequency of a character if it is like appearing inside this, starting from 0 to any number of times. Now what we are doing, what is the operation? Search operation. Now here we are searching. Okay, if it is there, we want the address for that. Okay. Okay, previously it was not like that. So previously it was giving how many times it is repeated. Now if it is there, where is it? Okay, yeah. The first is the find function. Okay, now starting from frequency, so whatever the function that we see, those functions are called upon our main string, so on which we want to do this operation. Okay, just like here main string, here also you will get the main string. So the very first function inside this, under this category, is the find function. Okay, the syntax for this also very much similar. Main string dot find. What do you want to search? What is the search string? Okay, start index. And the end index. So I'm not giving example here because we have already seen how this can be used. Now let us see with an example. So on the variable var1 only, I am doing this operation find. Okay, so first let us see, let us go with the character n only. Let us search for character n. var1 dot find of, I want to search n, whether n is available or not, starting from the 0th index till the length of variable. Now let us see what is the output. See, the output is 3. So what this 3 means? Does that mean how many times it got repeated? No. As I have mentioned, so this find function returns us the address. Okay, the address of the first occurrence, that we need to remember. So if you could see, it just printed 3. Now let us see in this main string. Okay, so at 0th index we have m, at first index we have y, second index we have space, and third index we have n. Okay, so that is why we have got 3 printed here. So what is the note that we can take away from here is, yep, returns the first occurrence. Okay, it does not care how many times this particular string or character that is present inside the string. Okay, it only cares, so it starts from the left side. So if you could see, no, not left side, it started from right side. 1 second. Yeah, so now it starts, this find function starts from the right side. That means it starts in the forward direction of the indexing. It starts from 0. That also let me add it as a note. Search start from 0th index and moves forward. Okay, it moves forward, so whenever it encounter any such a kind of thing, so it will just print. So that means it is the very first occurrence in our terms, if you could say, the very first occurrence of this particular string or the character. So it will just print that particular index value. Now here there is a character. Let's say if I have given a string, what would it do? I have given name. It again printed 3. Why? Because so this function, this find function, only gives us the address of the very first occurrence, and mean the starting of this particular string. So this is matching with this name, right? So that is why it just gives this first index of this particular string, which is 3 here. So that is why we got 3 printed on the console. This is the find function. So what are all the notes that we have seen so far? Searching starts from 0th index and moves forward, returns the index of the first occurrence. There is one more case. What if the search string is not present in the main string? So what is the output? Let us see with an example. See, we have name. Now let me just modify this particular thing into a different way, such that this search string is not inside this main string. Okay, So here I'm just removing A. Okay, I'm searching for NME. That means this NME should be consecutively present in this main string. So it doesn't care whether this NME is present differently. It just checks whether this is present consequently or not. That means NME means NME only. Okay. Now let us see, because we know this is not inside the string. Now let us see what is the output. So it just printed -1. That means, so whenever the search string is not present in the main string, so this returns -1. That is our next point to be remembered. Returns -1 if not found. Okay, so this is the find function. So we just need to remember all these things. So it starts from the 0th index and moves forward, returns the first occurrence of this returns the index of the first occurrence, and returns -1 if that is not found. Okay, we should always know what is the return type and what is the value that can be that we can expect from this particular function. Yeah. So similarly to this find function, we also have another function, index function. So index function also does the same thing. There is no difference as it is same as above for the first point, and the second point is the same as above, and for the third point let us see. Okay, so we have this find function examples. Now let us take them with the index function. Var1 dot, the syntax is also same. Index of, I am searching for name starting from the 0th index till the length of var1. Okay, now let us see what is the output for this.
That where one and where two is different.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. See now, previously when you use this find function, so it printed 3 for us. Now when I'm using the index function, it also printing 3. That is why the first point and the second point are same in both the cases, for find function and the index function. Now let us see the case where the search string is not present inside this main string. I'm searching for enemy starting from 0th index till the length of this one. Okay. Yeah. Now see what will happen. See previously what we have seen, so there was one error, right? Because it was searching in the variable var. In the variable var, so the string which we are searching was name. It was not there, because of which we got an error. So the same thing happens whenever we are searching any string which is not present in the main string. So it will return an error. So previously this find function was returning -1, but the index function returns an error. It throws an error. That's it. That is the only difference between this index function and the find function. There is no much difference between this. So whenever you want to like catch any exception and do some, instead of like showing the user that -1, okay, we can simply tell them that something is not there, we are not able to find something like that. So if you were to like customize such a kind of exceptional cases, so we have such a kind of topic, exception handling. So we'll see how these exceptions are useful over there and how can we show some meaningful message to the user. So here itself, so if you could see, so previously it was printing -1. So considering we both have some knowledge on Python, so we know what is a -1 for the find function. So if someone who doesn't know both the functionality of Python, how it how it returns value, how it works, okay, so what would they refer to this -1? So they can like bring out a different meaning to this particular value. Okay, instead of showing some values like this, so we can show the user like this: substring not found. Okay, so this is the message that Python itself is giving to us. So we can show this message to the user instead of like throwing this complete error. We can catch this error and we can show whatever the message that is there inside this, and we can simply show it to the user. So in that case, it makes more sense to the user that whenever he reads this substring not found, he will come to know, okay, whatever I'm searching, that is not there in this particular document or in this particular text. Okay, yeah. So just to provide some meaningful information, so we have this exceptions, and it is one of the beautiful way to handle exceptions or errors whenever we are like building any application, until unless we don't have any much use of this errors. Okay, so these are only helpful in the project development or the application development. Okay, because that is directly related to the customer or the user. So let me comment this out. Yeah, so this throws an error. What is the error? It throws a value error. That also we need to remember. Throws value error if not found. Okay, so that is the only difference between this find function and the index function. And similar to this find function and index function, we also have another variations of this find function and index function. But yeah, only one thing changes. We'll see what the function is. So the third function is lfind. So the term itself is very self-explanatory, lfind. So previously what I was telling, find. So from where it starts searching from the 0th index. That means it starts searching from the right side. So here I mentioned lfind. That means it starts searching from the left side, which means it searches in the negative indexing way. But yet the output is always the positive index only, but it searches in the reverse format. That's it. That is the only difference. Okay, searches in the reverse manner, and same happens with the next two cases as well. Returns the index of the first occurrence in the reverse way. And same, the find function itself like does not throw any error. It simply returns -1 if not found. Let us see with an example. Okay, I'll have them just below this find only. Print. Now var1 dot, what I will do, I'll see, previously I was using the find function. Now let me use the lfind function. Okay, to this lfind function, I want to search the substring name starting from the index 0 till the length of var1. Now let us see the output. Let me also comment this. Sorry, my bad. It is not lfind, it is rfind. So it searches from the back side, and it just gives the first occurrence of the value. So here if you could see, so we have 3 printed, because from the backward direction we don't have any name other than these two. There is only one occurrence. Let me change the value to n. See, so when I use this rfind to search this n, so let me also change this to n. Yeah, so when I use this find function, so which is default searching from the 0th index, so I got 3 as output, because so when I go from here from 0th index, so the first occurrence of n is at the 3rd index. But yeah, so when I use this rfind, so it starts searching from the negative indexing. Negative indexing in the sense the output is not always the negative indexing, just searches from the from backwards with the help of the negative indexing, but the output is always a positive index only. So now the value which got printed is 16, because when it started searching from the backwards, So what is the value? So the first occurrence is at the 16th index. So this is the 16th index. Let us see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. At 16th index we have N. Okay. So now what is the use of this R find? Okay. So we can simply use this, right? There are few cases. Let me just give one use case here. Let's say you have a document, so which is like which people are updating daily, which people not updating in the sense amending. So on day one, so someone has like written 5 lines. On day two, some other person has written 5 lines, like that. So if I were to find something which was recently uh, added to the document, so at that time what I will use, I need to use the R find. Okay, if I want to find similar things starting from the beginning, so I'll just use the normal find function. Okay, so this will be helpful if you were to like find some errors. Let's say we have like error log file, okay, inside which we only log the errors daily. So if I were to like see what is the latest error, so then I will just simply use R find of error starting from 0 to till the length of this document. Then I'll get the latest error, so where exactly it is. That's it. Okay, so that is only the use case.
Maishra, can you please repeat the R find from example?
Yes. Yeah. See, so this R find, so what I was doing, example or the use case? This one or the use case?
Example.
Okay, this one only, right? Whatever
Yes,
I have
yes.
highlighted. Okay. So it has the same syntax as find. Okay. So the only thing is previously it was find and now it is R find. Okay. Now to which the syntax also same. We just pass the search string, whatever we want to search, and this indexing. So though we are calling it as a reverse search, but still it takes the forward indexes only, because the negative indexes are not very readable. So that is why they don't, Python itself don't print any negative index values until unless we force the Python to like have them to be printed. So that is why we are parsing 0 until the length of this var one. Now, so what this rfind function does is, so it starts searching from the backside. Now, this is my function. So this is my string. So when I call rfind on this particular string, so what it does is, so it starts searching from the last index. That means the -1. At -1 we have n. Okay. So but see, this rfind does not print -1. It prints only the forward indexing value only, because if it prints -1, it does not make any sense to us. That's why it just printed 16 for us, because 16 is the index for this particular n. Okay, wherein the find function, it found the value at third index, because it started searching from forward direction, wherein rfind searches from backward direction. That's the only difference, find and rfind. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So similar to not found cases, so this rfind also prints -1. Okay. So here also we have -1, just like that. Okay. Yeah. So this is rfind. Similar to rfind, we also have rindex. Everything is same as above, except we know that except the return type. Throws error if that particular string is not found. Okay, let us see with some examples. Now I'll use the same example. So here, instead of this index function, I'll just call rindex, so to which I'm passing the name only, just like not name, because there is only one such value. So I'll just pass n. So just like find, this index also printed 3 first, and when I use this R index, it just printed 60. Okay. Now let us see an example where it is not able to find a value. So we have got a value error. That's it, substring not found. So this is the only difference that we need to like remember between the find function and the index function. Index function throws error, which is a value error type, and find function returns -1 if the search string is not found in the whatever the main string that we are searching for. Okay, so that is the only difference. And find index starts searching from the 0th index, wherein R find and R index start searching from the reverse direction, starting from the negative indexing. But the output is always a positive index only. Okay, so this is our third category. So far we have seen cases category, frequency category, search category. Now let us go with the next category. Next category is the data type check category. When I say data type, so here I would only refer to 3 data types, not 3, only 2 data types: alphabets and the digits. That's it. So if a string can also have alphabets, can also have digits, so can also have the combination of this alpha and numerical values. Okay, so now there are like few functions in Python to check whether the given string is completely alphabetical string, or it has complete digits. I mean, all the characters in that particular string are digits. And is it like a clubbed version of both alpha bits and the numerical values? Is it alpha numerical, alpha value, and the digit? Okay, so there are like 3 functions to check this particular thing. The very first thing we'll start with is, so whether our string has all the alphabets or not. Is alpha function. So as I have mentioned, so this is alpha function, what it returns is, so the name itself says it is a kind of condition. Is alpha, is or not, that's it. So if it is uppercase, then it will simply return not uppercase. If the string has all the alphabets, then it will simply return true. Otherwise, it will simply return false. So when I say alphabets, I mean only from starting from A to Z, either in the uppercase or in the lowercase. Special characters are not considered as alphabets in programming language. Okay, so this alpha is alpha function will only check whether this string has all the alphabets or not. Okay, yeah, is alpha function. In either cases, it can be like uppercase or lowercase, or can be mixed version of these 2 cases. Okay, yeah, that's it. And return value is always boolean. That means true or false. Let me open another code block from here. Now var1 we have. Now let me declare another variable var2. Okay, to which let me have this Python. Okay, now so this Python, we know that it always have this alphabets only. So now if I call this is alpha function, so it will simply returns true. Okay, true, because all the characters that are there in var2 are alphabets. Now let me add a digit to this. See, now it is a false. Now instead of digit, let me add a special character. Now let me add a space. See, space is not a alphabet, so that is why we got false printed. So one use case for such a kind of things is, uh, we might have like entered our usernames or our own names like first name, middle name, and last name in many other websites. So we might have like somewhere encountered. So if we wrongly entered any special character or any digit in the name place, so it will throw some error or excuse me. So it will show some warning kind of pop up to us, invalid name, etc. like that. So in order to like show that, so it should have like implemented some logic on the back end. So instead of that, so we can simply use this function. So whatever user is entering for his name, so we can simply call this is alpha function on top of that simultaneously. So if any user is printing, if any user is entering any other value, so we can directly tell the user that okay, this is not a valid name that we can take in. If the output of this is alpha function is false, that means user is not entering the name in a proper format. That means he is either entering a special character or a digit. Okay, not all the alphabets. Yeah, that is the one of the use cases. Now the second one. Second one is digit. As the name suggests, it will check whether all the characters are digits or not. Okay, and similarly the return type for this is also boolean. So this will be like useful wherever we want to like restrict the user to not enter any other value other than numbers. Let's say if there is a dialog box which is asking for our mobile number to enter. So mobile number should always have digits only. So if you are like entering any alphabet or any other special character, so it will simply show some warning like invalid mobile number or something like that. Okay, some meaningful message. So in that place, we can simply use this isDigit function directly on the particular value that is entering into the dialog box. I'm simply just giving one such use cases. There can be multiple use cases if you like start implementing or start thinking of. Okay, next I have another variable var4, to which what I do is I just entered all the digits. Okay, now let me call isDigit function on top of this variable. Since this var4 has all the digits, all characters as digits, that is why we just got true as printed. Now let me add an alphabet in between. Now it showed false to me. There it is like that. Okay. Yeah. So now we are checking whether the variable is like completely alphabets. It has complete alphabets, or it has completely digit values. Now there is another use case, right? Let's say let us consider about a password or a username. So let us say if we have a website, so to which not only we are asking your username, your names and all the stuff. So we wanted you to like create some username for yourself. Okay, so to that username, so according to my company, my firm guidelines, what I can accept in the username is I can accept either alphabets or the digits or the combination of both. So in that case, so instead of like calling this in if and else, so what I will do is I'll have another function. So it will simply check whether it is completely alpha, whether it is completely digit, or it has some combined values. So that is this hybrid function. Okay, is alphanumeric, so we call that is all num. Don't confuse. If I say is all num means it is not checking for if all the numbers are if all the characters are numbers. Al means alphabet, num means numerical values, all num, that's it. Okay, alpha numeric, nothing like all numbers. So we know about this particular hybrid function checks if the string all digits or all alphabets or combination of both. Okay, yeah. So this also is a boolean type returned function only. Return type is boolean. Yeah, one of the use cases username creation. That's it. Yeah, let us take one example. See. So this is an acceptable username as per my guidelines. So now I'll check whether the user has entered a valid username or not. So for that, what I need to do, I need to call isAllNum function on top of this particular value that user is entering. Okay, the output is true. That means user has entered some valid name. Okay, let's say user has entered something like this, Python @123. So this is not a valid username that I can accept. That is why I simply throw some validation error to the user, saying that okay, you have entered something like that. This is not a valid username that I can accept for. Okay, so this is how we can simply check what are the data types that are coming in. Okay, yeah. So this is another category. So next, so far we have seen like the uppercase, lowercase, and like counting the frequency category and searching category, and lastly is data type check category. Now I'll see another check is let me take a text block here. Now let me have another category here. So here what I will do is, previously what I was doing for the cases, I was converting the cases. Okay, so from one case to another case. Okay, so it is not always the case. So I cannot like simply convert them on my own intuitions or my own rules. Okay, first I need to check for something, so whether the user has entered something in a valid format or not. So if it is not in a valid format, then only I can do that. It is not that case always. So there are like few other cases wherein you can simply check whether the user is entering in a proper format or not. Okay, if you are expecting only the upper cases, whether the user is entering or not, if you don't want to convert them. Okay, yeah. So that next category is case check category. Okay, now we'll check what is the case of alphabets that user is entering into his string. Okay, so the very first would be is uppercase. Okay, whether the user is entering all the characters in uppercase or not, that is our first function, is upper function. So checks if all the characters are uppercase. So if true, then it will return true. That means if all the characters are in uppercase, it will return true, otherwise false. Again, this also returns boolean type. And similar to this uppercase, we also have another function, is lower function. Okay, this will check. So this will check if all the characters are in lowercase or not. Yeah. So these are two functions with respect to the cases. Okay, there are another two functions, isBase and isTitle. I'll tell you once we see some examples for these two first. So this also returns a boolean type. Now let me have a code block. Verify. Yeah. So now I have this variable verify. Now I want to check whether all the characters are in uppercase or not. So for that we already have one function, isUpper function. For that I will simply use, I simply call this isUpper function on this variable verify dot isUpper. False, because see, only one character is in the uppercase. Other than this, everything is in the lowercase. So what is the function does? So it will only return true when all the characters are in the uppercase. Otherwise, it will simply return false. Even one single character is in lowercase. Sorry, one single character in lowercase. Similarly, if I call isLower as well on this function, this variable, it will also return false because there is one value, one character which is in the uppercase. Okay, that is why it simply returns false. Now what I'll do, I'll simply make it as and convert it into lowercase. So now isLower function return true because all the characters are in the lowercase, but isUpper function return false because all the characters are not in the uppercase. That's it. Now, so there is another function called isSpace function. isSpace function, before that I'll just tell you one thing. So what is the use of this isSpace function? For that I'll just give you one context. Let's say there is a system generated document, or maybe the user generated document, inside which mistakenly what user did is, so he added some extra spaces for a string. Instead of a string, what he did is he added all the spaces. At that time, what can we do? Okay, so at that time it is our responsibility to correct that particular document or that particular word. Let's say, let me give one example here. When user is typing something like this, my name is, and some extra spaces here, Python. Okay, so this is not a valid string. So what are all these extra spaces doing here? Okay, in that case what we can do is, so we can check whether this particular word has all spaces or not. So for that check, so we have this function available in Python. So this will check whether in a given word we have all the spaces or not. If it is all the spaces, then we can show some warning or something like that based upon our logic. Okay, so what this does is, so it will check okay, it will check only all the characters are space or not. If you could see all these functions, so they are checking all the characters. If all the characters are in the same format, then only they are returning true, otherwise false. Just like in the isUpper function returns true only all the characters are in uppercase. isLower function returns true only all the characters are in lower function. Similarly, isSpace function returns true only all the characters are spaces. If there is at least one character which is not space, this function will return false. Okay, yeah. And just like above two function, this also returns a boolean type. Now let me declare another variable var6. Okay, so to which what I'll do is, first I'll give all the spaces. So for on this var6, I'll just call isSpace function. Now since all the characters in this var6 are spaces, it simply return true. Now what I'll do, I'll add one character here, which is a digit. Now the output is false because, as I have mentioned, so these three functions check whether all the characters are in the same format or not. That means isSpace means all the characters are spaces or not. isLower means all the characters are in lowercase or not. isUpper means all the characters are in uppercase or not. That's it. Okay. So is lower, is upper, is space. And similarly, when we were dealing with these cases, so there was one more function we have seen, capitalize. That means it will just capitalize a word. It will just convert things into title manner. In the similar way, so we have another function called titular function. So what it does is, so it will just convert whatever the thing that we have into a titular manner.
Oh, Mysore one doubt here.
Yeah.
Very basic. So is if we send the like numerical data is upper or is lower, so it will throw error.
Numerical data.
In is upper is
Hmm.
lower functions.
Yeah, understood your question. See, it will not throw any error. You meant to say like this. If I'm calling this is upper, is lower functions on this
Not
variable.
only alphabet like alphanumeric anything.
Like this, it will not throw error. Yeah, it will not throw error. So if there are any digits, so it will simply you can simply consider the output is always false. Okay, even though if there are capital letters. Okay, so it will ignore all the digits, all the numbers that we pass into the string. So it will only consider the alphabets. Okay, if the alphabets are in the uppercase or in the lower case, then only it will simply return true for this particular functions. Is that the question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, if there are numbers, so these two functions ignore those numbers. That's it. And yes. So now let us first give an example. I have a document like this. Okay, we know the title case. What is the title case? That means every word in the document or every word in a sentence or a statement starts with an uppercase letter. Okay, so here if you could see var7, so this is not in the titular format. So what I can do is I can call one of the function, okay, which will tell me whether that is in the titular format or not. Okay, the function is title. Is title. So since this particular variable 6, this particular statement what I'm giving here, this is not in a title format. That means the word the word name is not starting with an uppercase letter, and similarly with Python. So what if I change this to uppercase values? Now my statement is in a title format. That means every character of every word, every first character of every word is in the uppercase. So that is where it just written true. Fourth question is title. And the return type is also same. Okay, so this is another category, case check category. So any doubt so far till this case check? So next we'll enter into some another important functions. Okay, yeah. Okay, next I'll take another text block. So next we'll see the stripping part, stripping category. What do we mean by this stripping? Okay, so let us say we have a string. It has some white spaces or any spaces before and after. So if you were to like only retrieve what is there inside that particular string, what is a valid value, so then we use such a kind of strip functions. Okay. Yes, let me take first is, yeah, so there are three functions which can be useful for this stripping function. So one is lstrip.
Masura, can you please explain stripping means?
Yeah, I'll explain. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, so there can be some possibilities. If you could see here, this var6, right? So here the data is only one, but yeah, it is like it has some prefix spaces and suffix spaces, so which we don't really need sometimes. So just like trimming that we do in the SQL queries or in Java. Okay, so if you were to only retrieve the only data, then we can use this lstrip, rstrip, or the simple strip functions. Okay, if you don't want the white spaces before and after, we can simply remove them. We can simply strip them if we don't need them. The first function is lstrip. So as the name suggests, it starts from the left direction. Okay. In the left side. Okay. So whatever the extra spaces that are there in the left side, so it will simply remove them. And yeah, we'll simply remove the extra space on the left side. Let us see with an example. I'll take one example. Yeah, I have this variable inside which I have only one word, but yeah, during the transmission or something, during some manual error or there are some extra spaces before and after this word. Okay, now if I only want to like remove all the spaces on the left side, then I can use this lstrip. Print variable dot lstrip. See, it just printed Python. Now you might be wondering whether it has removed only this or this. Let me like select what is the output. See, if you could see, there are like some spaces even on the right side, because we stripped the spaces only on the left side, not on the right side. Okay, the same thing happened with the rstrip. So it will only remove things from the right side. At that time, we can simply use rstrip. See, previously all the left side spaces are gone, and now all the right side spaces are gone. We have only this left side spaces now, and previously we had only right side spaces. Now if I want to like remove spaces both sides, left and right sides, so how can I do that? I can simply call the strip function. On both sides. Strip. Yeah. So now if you could see, so there are no spaces for the third time because we stripped the extra spaces on both the sides. But previously, when we did lstrip, there was space on the right side. If we did rstrip, there was spaces on the left side. But yeah, so why I explained all this is, so though we don't really use this lstrip and rstrip, so there are no specific use cases. No, there are no general use cases until unless you have very specific use case, then only we use lstrip and rstrip. Otherwise, we simply go by this strip function only. So we want to like simply check whether if there are any spaces before and after, we simply remove them and we simply use the string as it is. That's it. Okay, so this is mainly used, the strip function.
So for strip function mainly used for only that spaces, right?
Huh.
Removing of spaces.
Yes, yes. Okay. So far, are we good? Okay. So this is the stripping category. So far we have simply seen some validations and checks and conversions, right? And now we'll see some important functions. Okay. So those will be like very much useful whenever like we are dealing with any formatting, whenever we are doing some manipulations and all those. Now the next category is the justification category. So when I say justification, what do I really mean? So we might have like seen this particular feature in Word documents. So we know there are like three justifications: left justification, right justification, and center justification. We know what they really are. So if you select some paragraphs, if you do the left justification, so it will simply move everything towards the left side, and on the right side it will simply add some spaces or any other thing. And if you do right justification, it will simply move the entire paragraph towards the right side and leaves some spaces or something on the left side. And if you do center justification, so everything will be packed in the center itself. Okay, so these are the justifications that we see in the Word document. The similar thing we can achieve with the help of this Python as well. Okay, now let us see with examples, and we'll see what they really are and how they really work. The very first thing, first we'll see left justification. Ljust. So this is the function that we use, Ljust, and the syntax for this is, so whatever is our main string. Okay, so this is my main string. So I told you, so all the functions will be called upon our whatever the string that we do operations on. Main string dot Ljust. Okay, this is the function. So this function takes a few values as inputs. Okay, excuse me. So there are two parameters which are like mandatory, and we need to pass them definitely. So the first parameter is the width. Okay, and the second parameter is the fill character. Okay, what do I mean by width and fill character? So whenever we are doing this justification, we should know what is the length of that particular line. So even in the Word document, so though we don't know the length of our this particular line, so the Word document internally knows what is the size of this particular line. So based upon that, whenever we do this center justification and left justification and all this stuff, so it will automatically take care about that. It will automatically take care of that. Otherwise, there is no point of doing that. So that is why here we can't simply like automatically know what is the width of that particular line, and if we don't really like do that if we don't really leave that particular to the Python's discretion, we can simply take care about that. So what is the width that you want to like justify this particular word to, and fill character. So let's say your character is like 10 characters, your string has 10 characters, and you want to justify your string into a 40 width, a 40 characters line, and remaining 30 characters, what do you want to do? So you have only the 10 character length string, but remaining 40 characters, what do you want to do? What do you want to fill with? That is what we call it as fill char. And there is one limitation on this fill char. The name suggests it can always be a char. It cannot have more than two characters. Only one character. Let me explicitly mention that. One character. So if we mention more than one character, that means for this fill character, if we give a string of length 2, it will simply throw error. Okay, it should only accept a string of length 1. That's it. Now let us see an example. Let me have a variable name. So here I have a word Python. Okay, now so in my document, so the line the size of the width, I would say the width of the line in my document is 40. Okay, now I want to fill the remaining characters with asterisk. Now how can I do that? Print var9 dot ljust. Okay, ljust of what is the width I was achieving? I wanted to achieve a width of 40. And what is the character that I want to fill? The I want to fill the asterisk in the remaining spaces. So now you could see. So this is my Python. This is my variable Python. So Python got left justified. That means this Python word is at the on the left side, and on the right side everything. See Python 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are only 6 characters. If we excuse me. Okay. So if we leave these 6 characters out of this bit 40, so there are like 34 characters left out. Okay. So out of this all 34 characters, what we did, we just filled asterisk. So that is what I just meant by left justification. Okay. Now we can use any other character here. Now let me show you what is the limitation. So as I mentioned, so it can only take a character of one length, a string of one length. Now if I pass 2 characters here, see we got the type error. Okay, the fill character must be exactly one character length. Okay, it cannot take more than one character length fill char. Okay. Now similarly for the right justification, rjust. The syntax is same and the same fill character is also only one character. Okay. Same as above. Now let me do it. Let me call the same function with rjust with the same parameters. Print var9 dot rjust of the width is 40, and I also want to pass the same width fill character asterisk. Okay. See now the word Python variable name got justified towards the right side, and all the extra blank spaces got filled with the character which I have passed, which is asterisk. That's it. Okay. So this is just ljust and rjust. Now we have another justification, right? Center justification, which also has the same syntax and has the same limitations. Okay, for this we can simply call this function as center. Okay, there is no word called justification for this one. Yeah, print var9 dot center. Okay, the width is 40 and the fill char is asterisk. See now the word got centrally justified, and all the remaining spaces towards the left and right side got filled with whatever the character that I have given. So this is the justification for us. Okay, so whenever such a kind of problem statement comes, so even though they don't explicitly mention, so they want this kind of justification, but they mention some restrictions. Okay, I'll give you one problem statement, so which will use these things. So it is your responsibility to find out how can we use this. So there are multiple functions which we can use. I'll just give you one that problem for today's session. Okay, I'll just post that into the group. You can use these justifications, and there are other functions, and combining all functions, then only you can like achieve that particular problem. Until unless if you don't know a one single function out of this, you cannot correctly know the solution for that problem. Okay. Yeah. So this mainly comes with the formatting. So whenever there are restrictions on the output formatting, okay, then you can think of such a kind of things.
Marshall, one doubt here.
Mm-hmm.
So here Python itself has six characters, and we are giving width as 40.
Yes.
So if we remove that 6, there will be 34 characters. So 17 will be placed on the left side and 17 will be placed on the right side. What will do if we are giving some 40 and 5 characters, like 2 PYTHO? That will be 5 characters. On which side the one extra asterisk will be placed?
Yes. So it is not when we call it a center, so it is not real center in terms of mathematics. It cannot like calculate the big value or all the stuff. So it will maximum try to fit whatever the string that we have given towards the center. So if we have like even length, so in that point of time we don't have a real center. The real center is not an integer, just like here. So if we have 40, the real center is something between 20 to 21. Okay, but if we have an odd number, let's 31, so in that case what is the real center? Real center is the 16th position. 16th is the real center in case of odd numbers, whereas in the even numbers we don't have a integer middle. So at that time, so Python will automatically know so which formula to apply on. And it is not always that we have that is the center itself, exact center, but it is somewhere in between the center. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah, you can verify that. You can run multiple of your scenarios. So whatever you have the test cases, you can run all the test cases when all these functions. So then only you will get a good grip on these functions. Okay, you can like try multiple variations. So what if I give this value? What if I give this value? What is the output for this function? What is the output for this function? So then only you will like learn about these functions, and you can simply use them just like tick. Okay, whenever there is something striking, you can use such a kind of function here. Okay, just try to apply what and all the cases that you can think of on all these functions. Okay, because these are functions, we cannot simply remember this until unless we solve them. If we are solving them and if we are giving multiple cases, so then only we learn. Okay, so that is the justification category. So till which, so we have like completely ended our categories. Now after this category, so there are like few important, very important. These are also important. So there are like another functions which are very important. So which I will explain. Now next category is start and end category. Okay, so you have a string or document or any statement, so you wanted to check whether that particular string or that particular document starts with something or ends with something. So then we have these two functions, starts with and ends with functions. Okay, which you can simply apply. There is nothing much difficult inside this. Okay, yeah, the syntax is starts with. Okay, so this is the function name and the syntax. Yeah, so this is called upon our main string dot starts with. Okay, and what do you want to search? Search string. Okay, so you have given this search string, so what you want to check whether this particular string is starting with that or not. And similarly you need to like provide some range. What is the start index and what is the end index? This is the syntax. Now let me have one example for this. Vartex. Hello Python. So I have this. I just wanted to check whether this particular word starts with hell or not. Okay. At that point, I can call this starts with function print. As I mentioned, so this needs to be called on the variable var10 dot starts with function. So what I am searching for? I am searching for hell. Okay. And starting from the 0th index till the length of var10. Now since this particular string is starting with hell, so now the output will be true. The return type is boolean for this. Now if I change this to okay, like this, it will simply return false. What I will do, I'll simply put some Python here. See, if you could see, though we have Python inside this variable, so it does not return a true, because as I have mentioned, this function starts with, will only check whether whatever we are giving here, the search string, is at the beginning of this particular string or not. It doesn't care whether the string is available inside it or not. It only cares if it is there, it should be at the beginning of this particular string. So then only it will return true. In a similar manner, we have a ends with. Let me put something here. Return type is boolean. Okay. And similarly, ends with function. The same syntax and the same return type. Now if I call ends with on this particular Python word, so it will return true for me, because this particular variable var10 is ending with Python only, right? Output is true. Yeah, so I can like explain one use case for this. So let's say you have an application, so wherein you are only accepting Gmails. Okay, you are not accepting any other mails. When I say Gmails, I would say only the emails ending with gmail.com. So at that time, you can simply check the mail ID, whatever the mail ID that user enters. You can simply call this ends with whatever the search string is at the rate gmail.com or not. That only the simple check that you can simply use. If it is a gmail.com, then you can simply allow that particular user. Otherwise, you can simply throw some error or show some warning to the user. That's it. So those are some simple use cases, so which we can achieve with the help of this particular simple functions. Okay. Yeah. Now after this, we have one function, split function. Okay, so before the join function, let me like go over through the split function. So this is very important function. So yeah, which we can use in any complex problem statements related to strings. Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know this, we have to like write some logic. We need to think about how can I split a string into a sequence. As mentioned, okay, splits a string into a sequence. Okay, it splits a string into a sequence. That's it. If you give a string, okay, it will simply convert that particular string into sequence of some strings. That's it. It can be like a list based upon your conversion type. Okay, it will simply create a sequence out of this particular splitted values. And when I say split, how can it split? So what is the rationale behind the splitting? So how can it simply split this particular string into multiple values or into a sequence? Okay, for that we need to pass one delimiter. Okay, so based upon this delimiter, Python will split particular string into multiple strings and just load them into a sequence data type. Is it mandatory? No, not always. So but the default value for this string is a space. If you don't provide any value for this particular delimiter, so Python will simply take this particular delimiter as space. That's it. So based upon the space, it will simply split whatever the string that we provide as input and create a sequence out of that. So this delimiter, we can also call it as separator. Based upon this separator, so we can like simply split whatever the string that we have. Now let us see the syntax for this. Just like that, main string. So we need to call this on our main string as well. Main string dot split. Okay, so this is our function split. So what are all the parameters that that this particular string takes? As I have mentioned, first parameter is separator or delimiter, and the second parameter is max count, which is an optional value. If you want to pass, you can simply pass. And at the same time, this delimiter is a default parameter. This max count is an optional argument or optional parameter, and the separator or delimiter is a default parameter. Even if you don't pass, it automatically takes a default value, which I mentioned as space. So this is the syntax for our particular split function. Now let us take with an example. Let's say I have a string st1. Okay, this is my string. My name is Python. Now let me split this based upon a space. st1 dot split. What is the delimiter that I want to pass? I want to pass space. Okay, now let us see what the output is. Okay, the output is a list. Okay, so based upon the separator or the delimiter that I have provided, so it just split it. So for the first space, when it encountered a first space, so it will simply load this particular value my into the list, and it will like simply traverse toward this string, and okay, again it encountered a space. Now again it will load this particular name into this, and again it will traverse throughout this string. Okay, then is loaded, and at the end of this, the Python will be loaded into the list. That is how it works. Now as I have mentioned, so space is already a default value. Now let us see without passing the space. st1 dot split. I'm not passing any value, I'm simply passing split. Okay, now also it will be defaultly separated, splitted into 4 characters, 4 strings, okay, based upon the space. Now let us see what the max count value is. So here we haven't passed any value for the max count, okay, because this is internally validated. Now, so if I want to only split this particular string only 2 times, then I can pass this particular max count. Print st1 dot split. Okay, I'm passing the separator or delimiter, and now I just want to only split this for 2 times. So previously we split this particular string into 4 times. Now let us see how many times it will be splitted. See, here only 2 times got splitted. When I say 2 times, that means it should have encountered this particular separator 2 times. After my, it encountered 1 time, and after name, it encountered 2 times. So as soon as it encountered second time, so whatever the string that is after this particular second space will always be considered as a single string. So that is why isPython is a single variable for us, single value. That is why after this space, just after the name, so we did not do this split operation. So isPython is a single word inside our list. My name and isPython. There are only 3 values now. Now if I say split only for 1 time, that means only 1 occurrence of a space, then only split it. Now let us see, we will have only 2 values inside our list, which is my, and everything other than my is inside our list as a value. Name is Python. So that is the max count. So this max count can be used if you want like to split only 2 or 3 times, and if you only care about only first 4 or 5 characters or 5 strings.
So, Mansura, what is the? Can you please explain the difference between same first case and second case in the example?
There is no difference. Yeah, there is no difference I have mentioned. So this space here I have explicitly passed space, but as I have mentioned in the definition itself, so the space is a default delimiter Python will automatically takes. So here I am not passing any delimiter to this split function. It automatically took this space. Now if I say instead of space, I passed n here. Now let us see what is the output here. So based upon this n, it just splitted this thing. So my, and there is a space. My space is considered as 1 string, and then we encountered n, and after that it is just another string. Name is Python. till here. And when we encountered n, so what and all we have like encountered so far is a string again, and whatever there is no another character just after this n, so that is why we have some empty string here. This just simply I just wanted to show the space is a default parameter. Even if we pass that space, even if you don't pass, then the output is same. If you are like splitting the string based upon the space only. Now let us say if my string has like this, okay. Now even if I give space, there is no use because there is no space at all. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll give the delimiter as hyphen. Now see, so based upon the hyphen, this particular string got split into this many times. So you might be wondering what is the use case of this split function. Okay, so this split function is very useful whenever we are dealing with CSV files, whenever we have some imports taken from the database. So the database imports are not always like some valid imports whenever they are in the CSV file, until unless they are in the Excel file. In the Excel file, it is very much similar to the table that we see. Okay, whenever we have the data in the CSV format, so the data will be like present in some delimiter format. Let's say I have a table called the employee table. Okay, so inside that employee table I have employee ID, employee name, and employee designation, what can I say, and employee experience. Okay, I have these 4 values inside our database. Okay, now what I do, I simply did a select star on this table and simply exported what and all the results that I have got into a CSV format. In the CSV format, the values will be like this. So based upon the delimiter of that particular database, let's say here, let's say employee name is name. Let's say the delimiter is here is colon. Okay, name first is ID, right? 001 is the ID, name is the name, and designation is designation, and experience is 3 or 4. So this is first row. And similarly, there is a second row for the second employee like this, and for this guy name is name 2, designation 3, for his experience is 4. Now see, the entire row is coming out as a string, one single string. Now how can you differentiate? So which is which? So from this string, so what is an employee ID? What is the employee name? What is the employee designation? What is the employee experience? At that time, what you do is just simply take it as one string. While you are reading this, there is some example. Okay, so when you are reading this particular thing, employee record 1. So this is employee record 1. Now employee record 2. Let us take only employee record 1. Okay, now out of this, now what I will do is I'll first create one sequence by splitting this. First employee 1, I'm splitting it, splitting with respect what is the delimiter here. Here the delimiter is a semicolon, so I am passing the semicolon as a delimiter. Now let me simply print this sequence. This split function will be very much useful whenever we are dealing with the CSV files, or whenever we are like extracting the scans from database and loading scans into the database. Okay, now see, so this is the string which we have converted into this format, and we know what is the first value, what is the second value, what is the third value, what is the fourth value. So based upon that, what I will do is first employee ID, to employee ID I will assign sequence at the 0th index. At the 0th index of this particular sequence, we have the employee ID, and the employee name is at present at the first index, and the employee designation is present at the second index, and similarly employee experience is at the third index. See, like that we can like retrieve the data. This split function will be useful there only. Okay, yeah. So now you have like all the data coming from the database. which was in the CSV file, which is a single string. The row is completely converted into a string. Okay, now we have that string converted into a sequence, and inside the sequence we know the column names. So based upon the column names, we have like extracted this data, and simply whatever the columns that we need, we can simply load them into another database. That's it. So this is one simple example of this split function. So there are like multiple examples to split functions. We can simply leverage this split function at multiple use cases. Okay, so that is the split function. Any doubts in the split function? Okay. Yeah. So then, yeah, there is another feature of the split function. So if you don't want any sequence to be like taken out of the split function, now what I will do is, so there is another use case. I'm just giving another use case here. Let's say, so the file which I am reading, so inside that, so I have got a value, okay, a decimal value as a string. A decimal value as a string. I have got it. What is that? I would say some decimal value is this. I have got 123.456. Okay. Now I want to retrieve the integer part and the decimal part out of this particular string. How can I do that? I can simply leverage this split function and split this with the help of this decimal dot, and simply split this function into two different ways. So now I don't want the sequence. Now what I will do is, so if you know how many values that can be outputted from this split function, then you can simply assign all the values to the variables. Now what I will do, I'll call integer decimal equal to this decimal dot split. So based upon what split? Based upon the dot. Now let me print the decimal part and the decimal part. See, this was my string. Okay, it was completely an integer, completely a float value or decimal value. So out of which I wanted an integer value, so I did like this. So integer comma decimal is equal to dc dot split. I know this dc dot split will just return only two values, so that is why I have two variables. So if this value returns any other value more than these two values, so it will simply throw errors. Because see, here we are expecting only two values to be retrieved from the split function, wherein here we got three values. That is why we got error. So this kind of syntax only use whenever you are very sure about how many values that can be like come out of as output for this split function. So here I'm very much sure that this split function will return only two values. So that is why I have this integer and the decimal. So you might be wondering what is the real use of this kind of things. Okay. See, this will be very useful. So whenever you don't know how many decimals that you might be like reading, just like the same example. So here from this document, so we don't know. Let's say if the data is in a very raw format that they did not round off the decimal values to a certain decimal value. So now what you will have. So for one value you might have like 5 decimals. For another value you might have 10 decimals. For another value you might have 5 decimals, like that. So irregular format. So at that time what you can do, if you want to only retrieve the integer part, okay, so it would be very difficult. So first you need to convert that into a float and then like traverse throughout that float and take out the integer part. That is a very difficult way. Instead of that, we can simply split this particular decimal part coming in based upon the decimal point, and we can simply take the first value, which is an integer. Okay, and we can simply use this integer for our calculation if you want to. Okay, so this is another use case of the split function. Not only the sequences, if you are like very sure how many values that can be like come out of this particular value. Okay, when you call the split function. That's it. Now here also, so here I have mentioned sequence, but I know there are only 4 values inside this. So instead of all these assignments, I can simply call employee ID, comma, employee name, comma, employee designation, comma, employee experience. So this will simply assign values to all these variables. We'll see that. There is another extension to this example. I'll tell you that there. Okay. So this is another use case of this particular split function. Okay. So that is the that is complete split function. So now after the split function, so there is another function called join. So if you are splitting, so there is obviously some function called join, right? Yeah. Then now there is another function called join. Now we'll see what the join function does. It is very vice versa towards this with respect to the split function. What is the split function doing? Split function is converting a string into a sequence. In the similar manner, in the reverse manner of the split function, the join function will convert a sequence of strings into one string. Okay, it is simply vice versa. What is another function now? Join function. Combines or joins the strings of a sequence into a string. Okay, so you might be wondering, so if you are like doing this particular function on a sequence, so why is this coming under under strings topic? Because the output is a string. Whatever the values that we have inside this particular sequence, which are strings, so the output is a string. Okay, we are achieving a string out of this function, so that is why this is coming under string topic. Okay, as I have mentioned. So if you have a sequence of strings, so we can simply convert that, I mean combine all the strings into one particular string. Okay, yeah. Now the syntax also vary here. So previously, what is the syntax for the split? So we are calling main string dot split and the separator or delimiter dot max count. Okay, here for the join we don't have such a kind of syntax. See, this join function is called upon the delimiter. Delimiter dot join, and to this join we need to pass the sequence as input. So this is the syntax for the join function. Okay, so what is the delimiter that you want to add? Okay, first you need to have that, and on top of this delimiter you are going to call this join function. Okay, on the delimiter, but not on the sequence. This delimiter can be like any special character. Mostly we use a special character like hyphen, semicolon, full stop, a space, like that. Okay, yeah. It can be a special character. And as I have mentioned, the output is the return type is string. Okay, no need about that. There is one limitation for this thing. What is the limitation? So as I have mentioned, so it joins the strings of a sequence. When I say strings of a sequence, that means I'm explicitly telling the sequence should have all strings. Okay, the sequence should have all strings, then only I can combine all of them into a string. Otherwise, this function will throw error. String valued sequences. This is only applicable for string valued sequences. If there is any other data type coming into the sequence, so it will simply throw error. Now let us see a few examples for this join function. Now see, I'll take this example only. Let me comment this thing. Okay, so now see the sequence. Let me print this sequence as well. Okay, so here previously I have a delimiter colon. Now what I am doing, I am splitting this and creating a sequence. Now we know how the sequence will be printed. Let us see how the sequence is. So this is how the sequence is: employee ID, name, designation, and the experience. Now this sequence, I'll use this sequence and join this particular sequence with another delimiter. I told you. So this join function needs to be called on the delimiter. Now instead of this colon, what I will use? I'll use a hyphen. Okay, a hyphen as a delimiter dot join, onto which I can simply pass the sequence as input. That's it. Now if you could see, so this is my string 001 name designation 3. That's it. That is how we use the join function, and this is how we split a string into sequence. This is how we join a sequence of strings into one string with the help of the delimiter. Okay, that is one such example. Now as I have mentioned, so there is a limitation, right? We'll see that limitation as well. Now I have one list. Okay, so inside this list I have 1 2 3 my name. So I want to join this particular sequence into one string. Okay, I know the limitation, but still I just wanted to show how this limitation is. I want to join this particular thing into one simple string. Now I use the delimiter space dot join list. I'm getting a type error because see, expected string instance but int found, as I have mentioned. So there is a limitation for this join function. So it can only okay, it can only join a string, sequence which has all the values as string data types only. If there is any value which is other than a string, so this function will throw error. That's it. Okay, so that is the join function. Yeah, so this is a split function, so this is a join function. So this is how we use this split and join functions. Now there is only one last function, yeah, which we'll see. With this function we can wrap this class up. This will throw error. Yeah, the very last and important function is replace. Yeah, this is again not a new feature. Okay, so you might have seen this already in the MS Word. Okay, so wherein if you want to replace one word with another word, yeah, you can do that. Okay, just like that. The functionality we know, and we just need to know how we can achieve that functionality in Python. The syntax is a little bit different for this. Okay, so we have a main string. Okay, main string dot, you just need to call this replace function on main string dot replace. Okay, now the first argument is the old string. Okay, what is the string that you want to replace? Okay, now the new string, what you want to replace with. This is the second parameter, and the third parameter is count. Okay, which is an optional value. Okay, so this is the syntax for this replace function. So this replace function is called upon our main string, and this takes 3 parameters as input. One is the old string which you want to replace, and the second is a new string which you want to replace with, and third is a count, which is an optional value, okay, which you can pass or you don't want to pass. We'll see what will happen if we pass and if we don't pass this count value to this particular replace function. Let me take one example. I have this string, okay. Okay, I have this particular string. My name is Python. Python is an easy language. Now what I want to do, I want to replace this particular word Python with some, I just want to mask this particular value. Okay, with some hashes or something like that. Now what I can do is I can call the replace function. Okay, I can call the replace function with the main function and the with the new word and the old word print. Okay, whenever I'm showing this particular string to the user, I just want to mask few of the words, or I just want to like replace Python with let's say instead of masking. So masking is one of the use case. So I just mentioned that before. I'll give an example for this. So previously it was Java. Okay, my name is Java. Java is an easy language. So now Java is not an easy language for me. I just want to replace wherever I can see Java in my document to Python. So now what I will do, str1 dot. Okay, I'll call the replace function. What I want to replace, I want to replace Java. What I want to replace with, I want to replace with Python. Now let us see the output. See, the output is my name is Python. Python is an easy language. But previously what it was, my name is Java. Java is an easy language. So what we did, we replaced the occurrences of Java everywhere. Okay. Yeah. Now what I will do is, Java is a very old language. I'm just simply saying Java is a very old language. Now, see, I'm like replacing Python everywhere. So if I replace Python everywhere here, what does the sentence look like? My name is Python. Python is an easy language. Python is a very old language. So this is not the case. Python is not really very old language than Java. Okay. Now at that time, I just want to only replace two occurrences of Java in this particular statement. So what I can do, I can pass the count value. Okay, I'm passing 2 as count value. Now without passing 2, let us see. So without passing 2, the statement is my name is Python. Python is a new language. Python is a very old language. So wherever Java is there, so just simply replace the Java word with Python word. Now I don't want to like do this for the third one because Python is not a very old language. Now what I will do, I'll pass a count value, which is an optional value, which was previously optional value. That's why we did not pass. Now I want to like make it mandatory. So that's why I am like passing two values. Only replace two occurrences. Now the statement is my name is Python. Python is an easy language. Java is a very old language. So here Java is not replaced because I was telling Python, I was telling to this replace function, only replace Java for 2 times. Don't do that more than 2 times. That is why it did not even touch this particular word Java. Okay, because it already replaced this particular word 2 times. Okay, yeah. So that is a replace function. Okay, now I was telling one of the use cases. One of the use cases is masking. So you might have already seen this kind of masking. So wherever if in any emails or in any messages, if someone want to mask some of the information, let's say if I want to mask your mobile number in your message, if I want to mask your account ID, okay, if I want to mask your credit card number, if I want to mask your debit card number, and all that stuff, we can simply use that with replace. Okay, yeah. Now let's say I have this message. Okay, str2 okay, your account is created with 2000 20,000 rupees. Now I don't want to show 20,000. Okay, now what I will do, I'll simply mask this particular value. So before that, let me give rs. Okay, so this is the message. See, now I am printing your account is created with 20,000 rupees. Now this is some a kind of secure information which I don't want to show every time. Okay, so if you are a correct user, so you can simply go and log into any bank portal and you can check how much amount is credited. But yeah, to eradicate the spying thing, so if someone if you want like restrict things which not to be shown to other users, I can simply say whatever the amount that is there, I can simply mask this value. When I say masking, Let us see how that is. And we can mask with any other special character. Here I will use hash. Replace 20,000 with hash 1, 2. Okay. See now, this is the message will be shown to the user. Your account is created with rupees this. We are not showing how much it is created. So if this is a really valid, you are really a valid user, you can simply go log into your portal and will say where you need to check how much it is created. Okay, this will like restrict this private information to be shown to any other users. Okay, so this is one of the use case where we use this replace function. And at sometimes if you want like mask your passwords, usernames, anything like that. So we might have like received such a kind of messages and emails, right? So wherein our only they will show only the last 4 words and 4 digits of the credit card or the debit card, and everything will be masked. Okay, so there we can simply use this replace function. Okay, that is one of the use case for this replace function. Okay, so with this replace function, like we are closing what and all we have, what and all the build function that we have under strings. Okay, as you might have seen, there is a very huge set of inbuilt function for strings itself. Okay, yeah, until unless you practice them, then only you can get a good grip on this function. So whenever there is something similar to this, you can simply think about this particular function. Otherwise, you have to like implement these functions on your own. Okay, so that is it for today's class, guys. Yeah, let me know if you have any doubts. Okay. Okay. I hope you are like practicing what and all the problems that I'm like posting in the group. Okay. Please do practice them. And today also after like sharing this document with you, I'll also post some uh, problem statements into the group. Yeah, you can practice them because the string topic is a very important topic when you consider for the interview questions. Okay, so if you are like getting 2 or 3 questions in Python, so one of them would always be a string related question only. Okay, and until unless you don't know all these inbuilt functions that are there under string category, it would be very difficult for you to solve such a kind of problems. Yeah, try to get a good grip on all these functions and how can you use them in multiple scenarios. Okay, yeah, okay, thank you guys.
Mysura, one thing.
Yeah.
And so for tomorrow's class, if you have any chance, if you and Archita, so it's shift to 8 to 10. Is it possible tomorrow?
8 to 10 in the morning.
You and yes. 8 to 10.
We'll let you know, Anil.
Okay.
I cannot comment on that currently. Yeah, we'll let you know.
Okay, sure. Thank you all.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone. Yeah, bye.